Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Pizza Hut, we're taking pizza to where it's never been before. Taco Bell, the only place where you live Moss. Colgate, the #1 brand recommended by dentists. And IT&D.
PNC News First, broadcasting live in high definition from Tumon, Guam on KEQI and KTGM and on KPPI on Saipan. Here is your PNC News team.
Hafa and good evening. You're watching PNC News First. We are live from the Broadcast Center at Akanta. I'm Jolene Toves. Thanks for tuning in. Topping our newscast tonight, with only 2 local dengue cases of dengue so far, the Department of Public Health and Social Services is working with other governmental agencies to spread awareness and prevent the increase of dengue infection on the island. Let's check in with PNC's Amanda Dedicatoria for more.
In order to make sure that the public is informed about how to prevent the contraction and control the spread of dengue fever, the Department of Public Health and Social Services has been in correspondence with the U.S. Centers for Disease Control to request for aid in the form of an entomologist, mosquito testing, and supplies. With residents facing an island-wide shortage of crucial deterrents such as insect repellents, Public Health Director Linda DeNorsi says that she has asked the CDC to ship such supplies to the island. However, she says that aerosol repellents cannot be mailed to Guam and is asking local businesses for assistance.
I'm going to reach out to other, like the Guam Chamber of Commerce, to see if we can get the private businesses to help us out to get more supplies to come in.
She also says that the number of households located in both the high-risk areas have increased, with the number in Manilo initially at 82, rising to 90 residences. The initial count for the high-risk area in Swamp Road assessed 18 homes. However, that number has since risen to 40. The reason for the increase, DeNorsi says, is because there were a number of extended and substandard homes identified within the high-risk areas. In order to help those living in substandard housing where residents may not have screened doors, she says that she has requested the CDC to supply public health with 1,000 mosquito nets to keep the insects from entering residences. Translators will also be working with public health to ensure that their outreach efforts are efficiently relayed to the residents present within the high-risk areas. According to Crystal Paco, the governor's spokesperson, in an interview with News Talk K57, the presence of the dengue disease should dissipate if no more cases are confirmed after the coming weeks.
And so far, nothing has come back than usual. So fingers crossed we can keep in this state for the next 6 weeks, according to our CDC medical epidemiologist, Dr. Zane Hancock, who's been with us ever since day one, since the first confirmed case. He's basically saying that the coast may be clear around 6 weeks. If you can go 6 weeks without a case, a new confirmed locally acquired case, then we may be in the clear.
Amanda Dedicatoria, PNC News.
In regards to parents who may be concerned about their children's safety while at school, the Guam Department of Education Superintendent John Fernandez has asked school administrators to relax their uniform policy and allow students to wear long-sleeve shirts, jackets, and pants for the next few weeks. In other news, the 75th anniversary of Guam's liberation costs more than previous celebrations, and the higher cost of entertainment had much to do with that. Mayor's Council of Guam President Melissa Savaras said that there's a $150,000 deficit after all the costs and revenues for the 75th Liberation celebration were totaled up. Savaras said entertainment costs accounted for a significant amount of the total expenses. Unlike previous celebrations, this year's event featured more off-island entertainers and celebrities. Not counting talent fees, Savaras said significant amounts were spent for these entertainers' food and lodging, as well as transportation costs.
We're big groups that were brought in for entertainment, and some were sponsored events. But even if you have a sponsored event, when you bring people in, you still have lodging and ground transportation that we need to take care of.
But it's not just entertainment costs that were higher. Savaris stressed that because this year was the 75th anniversary of Guam's liberation celebration, there were simply more expenses spent because the scale of the celebration was bigger to commemorate the 75th year milestone. She added that most proceeds from the Liberation Queens Committee were transferred to the Guam Island Fair to help pay down vendors. Turning our eye to crime, he strangled his victim and then threatened her with multiple weapons. That is what is detailed in court documents naming Vince Joseph Chingina Ugin. Ugin was apparently drunk on September 28th when the altercation occurred. Court documents state that during an argument with the victim, Ugin began pushing the victim several times in the chest. And while the victim attempted to pick up clothing off the floor, he then kicked and stepped down on the victim's neck. The victim told police that the assault continued as she tried to get away with Ugin punching her in the stomach and strangling her for 10 seconds. The victim recounted to authorities that she managed to escape to the bathroom, where Ugin pursued her with a knife, threatening to stab her. Court documents state that this is not the first time Ugin has assaulted the victim. Police say he threatened to kill her with an AR-15 rifle 3 weeks prior. Police investigation revealed that Ugin is a registered owner of an AR-15 rifle. They say he admitted to arguing with the victim but denied the assaults and using the rifle. Ugin was charged with strangulation, terrorizing with a special allegation of use of a deadly weapon, and family violence. He was booked and confined. Well, it takes a village to raise a child, and that is the approach the judiciary of Guam is taking as judicial officers and lawyers were given training on the judiciary's juvenile reform initiative. Here's more. It was last year concerns were raised to the previous administration about crimes committed by our island's youth. A 2017 citizen-centric report details 361 juveniles being admitted to the custody of the Department of Youth Affairs. Of those, 212 were Chuukese, 111 were Chamorro, 15 were Pohnpeian, and 8 were Palauan descent. DYA stated in the report, as the Chamorro and Chuukese youth continue to make up the largest segment, the Pohnpeian group was also overrepresented, but has fallen out of the top 3 population groups. DYA continues to hold weekly discussions with clinical staff, social workers, and correctional staff about the current incarcerated clients, as the overrepresentation of the above-named groups is discussed and explored. Assessments and diagnoses determinations are ongoing, while some contributing factors for the crime trends include poor parent-child relationship, gang peer group influences, lack of positive role models, school academic failures, etc. DYA will continue to work diligently to address the Chuukese population during weekly case reviews, including outreach events and providing additional resources for the community, end quote. With this in mind, Supreme Court Justice Philip Carbolito says the judiciary is taking a proactive approach.
This is something that occurred when Justice Torres was Chief Justice. He took the lead in bringing juvenile reform to the judiciary, and we wanted to educate, that we wanted to be preemptive. In other words, we don't want to be reactive. We don't want to wait until a violation has occurred and then a juvenile gets to be put through the system, the legal system. We wanted to be proactive.
He says the judiciary wants to raise awareness before a violation is committed in terms of rights of parents and youth.
What the laws are, the bounds that you can cross and that you cannot cross, and maybe if there's more awareness and the responsibility of parents in educating and being responsible. And it's just not the court system that you look to solve all your problems, because we never will get anywhere as a society if we wait until a violation has been committed before we try to be preventive. And so I think prevention, education, awareness is kind of key in reference to rather than waiting until a violation has occurred.
A year ago, the question was raised, could cultural differences in regards to discipline play a role? Justice Carbolito says that shouldn't be a factor.
But I think education is a key. We can't just say because they come from a different island, they're not aware of what their duties and responsibilities. Let's take it upon ourselves to.
Well, stick with us. After the break, we take a look at the growing stray animal control problem.